A phylogenetic tree is a visual representation of the degrees of similarities between certain organisms, and the degrees of similarities are measured by OTUs, or operational taxonomic units, and it measures just the differences in DNA sequences between two different organisms. Some important terms to review would start with anagenesis, where species development will occur without change in evolutionary lines. It just stays straight. So example would be the Kindle, and our cladogenesis would be an example where a branch gives way to two species at a specific time. So we would see something like this being an example of cladogenesis, the iPad Pro 5 and 4 giving way to two specific iPad Pros, and you have a rooted tree where the rooted tree just shows that there is a orientation such that the OTUs and the order of divergence can be measured. So you can see that this tree shows a divergence between Kindle and iPads at this node. And an internal node is where areas of lineage separates to give way to two or more taxa. So an example of an internal node would be right here, where you see the separation for that to be an iPad and the separation to go to iPad 2 and make other iPads. When looking at the evolution of tablets, we read from left to right on the x-axis, and the x-axis is standing for our time. And farthest to the right is going to be our most present day in time. One important part of this phylogenetic tree to look at is our outgroup. And our outgroup is usually going to be a species that will diverge very early in time. So you can see Kindle will diverge very early, and it diverges from what its most recent common ancestor is, which is something that's in this area, in this internal node. Internal nodes are where these lineages divide and form different taxa, and every point that I'm pointing to is an internal node. The iPad Pros use a pencil, while the non-iPad Pros do not use a pencil. We could find the most recent common ancestor at this internal node, where it gives way to the iPad 4 and then the iPad Pro generation. And if you would want to compare the OTUs between the iPad 1 and the iPad Pro 5, the OTUs would be significantly larger compared to for an iPad 1 compared to the iPad Pro 5 because of the various differences in DNA sequences between these two species.